Hi there. Oh no, I shall be back. Such a doofus. Yes. There were no lights on me, so it's pretty hard to see. Okay, yes. Okay, so hi, welcome. Just a slight error at the start. Fixed that already. And today I'm gonna be doing a very quick stream on how you can make a good tactic on Football Manager, right? So, um, this is combining two things at the same time because I'm also going to be taking a look at Arsenal. Now, as far as making a tactic, it's all about the basic stuff, right? In the game, I've written about it in the book, and it's largely got to do with the first thing that you do in with any system. I mean, of course, you go in, you do your analysis of the team, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I've written about that in the book. Now, I also have a faster way of doing it, right? So, okay, this is the fastest way I can do it. When I go into the game, I already kind of know what tactic I want them to play. Now, this presupposes you know at least one tactical system. So, if you want to learn how to make a good tactic, the first thing you need to have is understand at least one decent tactic in the game. And basically, for FM20, a lot of the traditionally you need to understand what's the difference between a narrow tactic and a wide tactic, right? So you basically, when you go into a game, it's what are the strengths of a narrow system, what are the strengths of a wide system, what are the strengths and weaknesses. Generally, you just want to know that. And then if you're gonna play a narrow system like a 5-3-2, for example, then you absolutely need very good wing backs, fast. You should be able to press high up the pitch. There have been people who have been going around, hey, hi, hello, Mark. There have been people who've been going around talking about how wingbacks don't press, but actually they do. It depends on your defensive line and line of engagement. So, all right. So first, you need to understand what your team is capable of doing. So to do that, the very first thing you do with every save that you start, and we've got Arsenal here, right? The first thing you do is get a view like this, support DNA, right? And then you go through your team, forget the strikers, all right? Just look, this is the tough part, right? Forget the attacking midfield. Just look at the midfielders, defensive midfielders, and defenders, right? What are you looking for, basically, is players that meet you in the middle, positioning and off the ball. That's all you need, right? So that's why I have these two side by side. Right, so positioning and off the ball. How many players in this team are able to do the job of being part of the spine, which is these players will support the attack and these players are going to support the defense, right? So you look at those two attributes only. So here we got 17, 12, 15, 10. See, this is a defender, right? So his off the ball is not really important. So that's fine. So you could filter out central defenders, but then you lose the wing backs. This is the reason why we don't. I leave it as defenders. I leave it as midfielders and defensive midfielders. Right. So as you go through your team, if you look at Arsenal, for example, you'll find that quite a number of players have decent positioning, not fantastic, but these guys can play support duties. If you're looking at a defend duty specifically, then it's always going to be positioning. So, sorry, hit the microphone. So you're always looking at the only two attributes in the game that I really deem important. I mean, every other attribute is important, of course, but positioning and off the ball are just the two most important attributes when it comes to thinking about support players. I've lost a bit of my voice because I was yelling last night with beers at a bar, smashing a table. I didn't really smash the table, but I went and bang the table when Fabinho scored. Yes. I was in my element. I was really having the time of my life, man. And there were some City fans there, and I was goading them for 90 minutes. So I was really bad. I should have done a YouTube video of myself. So positioning off the ball, 12, 13, 13, 12, 12, 12. So basically, not phenomenal. The problem in Arsenal, when I look at this team, I go, okay, this is an okay team. They're not fantastic. They're below average, right, for a lot of their players. Off the ball, 14. Only a few players here can really be an asset in attack. So when I look at this team, then I go like, so now you have to identify who are your spine players. Here we got Matteo Guendouzi. He's definitely spine. Why? Because his positioning off the ball is 14 and 14. Then you look at the second category of attributes, which is anticipation, concentration, and composure. So you split the attributes, right? Positioning off the ball, that's the short list. Any player above like 13 and 12 you'll consider. Then you start looking at the mental attributes, because the position of the ball is the prime attributes. Then concentration is up here, is about, does he know an offside track? Does he know that he needs to come back and defend? Right? Concentration, anticipation, does he know that he's supposed to go up? The attack is happening. Composure, high pressure systems, you want these players to be able to, keep control of the ball. So there we go. So he's okay at 12. Then we're looking at other players in this team. They got Callum Chambers, 14, 11, not too bad, can go up and support the attack. Really, it's not fantastic. His anticipation, concentration, composure is also very good. Okay, Callum Chambers is not too bad. Then this team has got some players. Then as I go through the list, we got Maitland-Niles. Positioning not that fantastic, but definitely can go up and support the attack. If I wanted to use him, I'd have to develop him as well. So I've got Guendouzi. That's the first name that comes out on my list. Then the second name on my list is Lucas Torreira. Positioning, 17 off the ball, not too bad. Mental's fantastic. So when you look at your team, your spine is sorted. Your spine in any midfield has to include Matteo Guendouzi and Lucas Torreira. That's just two players. That's now the challenge becomes, are there any other players here? As you go down the list, we got Granit Xhaka, 10 positioning, 14 off the ball. Only decent if he goes forward. Cannot be dependent on in a very defensive system. So you kind of know right now that when you look at this tactic, if you wanted to play a 3-man midfield, one of these players is not going to be very effective helping you defend. So you're looking at, okay, so what formations are left? So when you create a tactic, you know that 2 of these players will help you control the flank. So where do you position them? So in this case, I got Lucas Torreira, I got Guendouzi. If I wanted to play a flat 3, they go towards the sides, because they know when to go up and when to come down. So this is how you determine whether or not, what kind of a system you're going to end up with. So I'm looking at this team, I can play a 4-2-3-1, provided my backline is very fast. So you got so now we've got our spine, which is the two guys in the middle. That's part of the spine. Now we got to look for the side, the players on the sides, right? The ones who are going to go up and come down, and to see whether or not you got any of these other players that might just come down and from the attacking tier. So we've got the fullbacks now. Now I'm only going to look at the fullbacks. We're going to remove the midfielders. We got fullbacks now. We already know about Callum Chambers. He can come back. Kolasinac. Positioning 12, off the ball 14, fantastic, can go up, come down. Furthermore, he's got very good determination, work rate, and bravery, and acceleration is there, stamina is there. Okay, this guy is definitely playing. He's a member of he's a very strong part of the spine. All right, so you got Kolasinac, we got Kieran Tierney, who's in my save is injured for 2 to 3 months. Another player that's 12, 13, decent acceleration. Another player who's pretty good at coming back. And then we look at the composure. These guys, when you see decent amounts of composure for your support players, these players can play high up the pitch. You can play with a system that's a bit further forward. What have you got left to do now? Now you check your defenders, because you looked at their spine. Now you know that you've got players down the flanks who can go up and support the attack and come back and help you defend. So if you're going to be playing with a higher defensive line, your only equation now is your two central defenders. So when you want to make a good tactic, the first thing and the only thing you do is identify your support players. Who are the players that can be relied on? Because now these are all your players. So I've got Guendouzi, I've got Torreira, I've got Kolasinac and Kieran Tierney, who can play on the right flank. Then we've got on the left flank. Then we've got on the right flank, we've got Callum Chambers. We already know that he can do the job. He's got good composure, can go up and can come back. His off the ball isn't that fantastic. His acceleration is okay at 12. Okay, then we've got the Hector Bellerin, whose positioning is only 12. Off the ball is show off, but he makes it up with acceleration, which is very good. Okay, so we got our sides covered. We know that these guys can come back. That's done. That's how you set up. Know what kind of tactic you can create. Okay, I can make a 5-3-2. I can make a, because I've got the two guys bombing up and down. So it's the only problem is the guy in the middle, right? Because we only got Granit Xhaka. So then this also helps you decide on how you want to strengthen your team as well. So the last piece of the equation is the defenders. The defenders, there's only two attributes you want: jumping reach and positioning, right? So we got jumping reach, 14-14, not that fantastic in the air. This is not a defense that is very good in the air. We've got the unpredictable David Luiz, okay? We've got Skroda Mustafi, we got Rob Holding. Jumping reach is only 14, not fantastic. We're not going to be very good at defending set pieces, right? So, in terms of acceleration, they're 15 and 15, which is okay. It would be better. It's not like the end of the world, right? It's pretty good. 15 is pretty good. Then we're looking at mentals, anticipation. Not too bad. 13. Okay, 16. Okay, they can. This team can play with. Now, when we're looking at we know our support players are reasonably fast. We know our defenders are okay. This team cannot not play without Guendouzi and Duque Torreira. So, what can I create from this? So, immediately I go, all right, this team can play a 4-2-3-1. It's right there. No? It's the first tactic I think of, right? Because you already know they can play a 4-2-3-1. They can either play the 4-2-3-1, they can play the 4-1-3-2. They can play, basically, this team can play a variety of tactics. It all depends on how you want to use the players. Because now, we only have two players here. So, if I wanted to play my players, then it's a question of, we know that Guendouzi and Torreira are going to play every game. So, they're going to be sitting in these two holes, right? The question is, who do you want to fill here? Here, we're looking for a player. When you're looking at this position, now we look at the final three. Because we already sorted the defense out, right? We've got the two defenders. We've already sorted that out. We already know who the fullbacks are. We know who our midfielders are. Simple. Now we just have to figure out who the front four are going to be. So we go in here. First, we think of the players, right? Now, then I'll talk about attacking spaces, because this tactic is made to attack one space, which is this area here. We want a player to attack the space here, and this is we want somebody who's really fast, very good off the ball, can cross the ball, can dribble, can do cutbacks, can even go and score a couple of goals, right? Here we want to stick in a playmaker who's, we have two playmakers. In fact, don't worry about playmakers. I have a tactic with 4 playmakers, right? If you look at the custom tactics, the tiki-taka has got 4 playmakers as well. It's not like there's a condition in the game that states you cannot have a lot of playmakers. The more playmakers you have, it just means that among those players, you're going to keep the ball, right? The only thing you have to worry about is being easily dispossessed. So, playmakers in the final third are one of the hardest roles to perfect, because in the current engine as it stands right now, the playmakers somehow or another only see the wide pass. They don't see the central vertical through ball. I think it was Ajax versus Utrecht this weekend. I saw the match. There was one brilliant through ball, short vertical through ball. I don't know how it was in the 64th minute. They tried to release Martinez. It was such a beautiful through ball. I don't see that in FM20. I've complained about it. We're hoping that it gets fixed for the patch. But in the meantime, how you are going to look at the tactics, understand how playmakers are playing. They will play. The thing is, the vertical through ball will happen when you are hitting a team in transition, because SI are trying to make this very relevant to how football is being played. If you look at the match last night between City and Liverpool was not gegenpressing. They were doing a middle press, right? They allowed City out of the half. They allowed City to play the ball, and then they pressed them in midfield. They put pressure on them, and what Liverpool did was hit City in transition, meaning as City is coming up through midfield to consolidate an attacking pattern, that's when Liverpool would hit them. And Liverpool did not hit them with 17 passes to create a goal. They hit them with 2 passes to create a goal. So a lot in these kinds of setups, your playmakers are going to be damn valuable, because if your playmakers are in midfield in FM20, they are going to see that pass. So whenever you create a tactic in Football Manager, you got to think about how, I mean, it's fine and dandy, okay, you're camping for 90 minutes in opponent's half, right? You want to break them down. Playmakers are going to look for the logical pass to play, which is to go out wide, because that's where the space is. There's no more space in the middle. So that might just happen. But if you want your playmaker to play the central through ball over the top, that only happens during a failed transition. So here, when I have my playmaker here, it's created specifically for one player, right? So we've got, where is that man? The man, last year I made him play as a libero. This year I'm like giving him half a chance to play as a playmaker. All right, last year he was my favorite libero. Here we go, Mesut Ozil. Now, if I look at this player, right, he's got fantastic traits for a playmaker. He's got passing, he's got vision, he's got decisions, he's got flair. Now, flair is incredible, right? Because basically it's the unpredictable factor. So what am I leveraging off? Comes deep to get the ball. So during a failed transition, right? When you're in the defensive phase, chances are when you're broken, he's going to drop back into midfield to receive a pass. And he likes to play the killer ball. Guess who's attacking the space? This is a player attacking the spaces. So you want cutbacks in Football Manager? This is what you do. You hit low crosses. So now what we have is an inverted winger that's going to, attacking playmaker that might look for the inverted winger. Inverted winger will drive at the space, and then when he gets to the byline, he's going to do a cutback this way for players attacking the box. So this is set up in such a way that we have a playmaker here, we have an inverted winger here, we have a playmaker here. All of them are looking for this guy, right? This is natural, because who do we have here? Aubameyang. He can be played as an inverted winger. Now, do we want to play him as an inside forward or an inverted winger? That's really a debate up to the whoever wants to create the tactic. You can play him. I like to play him as an inverted winger because he's got he cuts inside from both wings. He's still going to play like an inside forward. As you look at his attributes, right? It's not the end of the world. He cuts inside from both wings. He's still going to end up playing like an inverted winger. He's still going to target the box, and he's going to drive this way, right? And he's going to create opportunities for other players as well, right? So on the right flank, we could have Nicolas Pepe. Right. The reason why I played Aubameyang as an inverted winger is only because Nicolas Pepe only has a left foot. All right. So if I play him on the left flank, then I'm lost, because that, I have to play him as if I play him as an inverted winger on the left flank, can't really work, because he has to be playing on his on the flank opposite his preferred foot. So he has got to go to the right. If he goes to the right, he places an inside forward. He's going to cut in. There's a stronger possibility he's going to score, because he's coming in on his favorite foot to score. Here on this flank, we got Aubameyang, right, cutting inside on his favorite foot. So he's going to be inverted winger. He's going to try cut inside. He can either pass the ball to players, which he might do as an inverted winger, or he's going to just drive at the box. So when you create a tactic, the other pieces in a puzzle when it comes to creating tactics, hi Chico, is understanding how your traits affect your tactics. So this is the system that I personally would make for Arsenal. I mean, of course, another 4-2-3-1 is this one. This is slightly different. We've got a DLP, we've got a bulk basic central midfield. There's no magical TIs here or PIs here. Because when it comes to creating tactics, right, especially in the beta, whenever you want to create a tactic, it's better not to have too many PIs at the start, unless you know what you're doing. Here, I've got close down more, tackle harder, only because I want them to press in the final third. Sometimes I do take it off, especially if I find that their pressing is useless. Sometimes they press and The opposition clears the ball and they still win the second ball. I go, man, there's no point. I'm just, my players are always out of position. So if that is the case, then you take it off. It's really something that you have to pay attention to. It's not some rule in the game that states you have to do what I'm doing, right? So to make a good tactic, observation is also very important. You got to see what they're doing and why you're creating it. Why are you looking for certain attacking patterns? Notice I'm only playing fullbacks on support. Why? Because this is an attack. 4-2-3-1s are also relatively attacking because we've got all these four bombing forward. Now, why? If I wanted these guys to play as wingbacks or fullbacks on attack, I've got another problem as well, because then the moment we have an attacking transition, these guys are going to bomb forward again. So when you want to make a good tactic, a good starting point is to understand whether it's a top-heavy or a bottom-heavy system. In this case, it's top-heavy. If it is top-heavy, I don't really need my backline to be that attacking. So if you notice this, it's a standard and standard. And I'm playing counter press. I'm not playing counter press, I'm playing regroup. Why? If you lose the ball, drop back first. Let's focus on getting into positions first to help defend. This is a slightly different tactic because we got DLP here. We got a fullback who does the overlap if you're camping in the opponent's half. And this guy is, because chances are if the ball comes here, this player might just go closer to the box, right? So he might get in a bit closer. This guy will overlap and drill balls from work ball into box. Yeah, he's gonna pass, and then look for the cross. Once again, I've got low crosses. I'm only looking for cutbacks. So once in FM20, if you play with low crosses, you're looking for cutbacks. Right? So basically, the guy is gonna go down the flanks, right? Get all the way to the byline, and then do a cutback. This is a request. I mean, I'm playing a bit more of this because people have been requesting me to do the cutbacks that we see with Raheem Sterling. Not exactly my favorite player, but never mind, I shall do them. But we'll do this. So we got overlap, right? Position him high up the pitch so he forms a nice little set of passing triangles with this tree. We got pressing forward with Shadow Striker bombing inside here. We got this time we got Aubameyang still playing here, but more as a creator than a goal scorer. Because now the primary goal scorers are going to be Pepe and Ceballos. This is when I use Ceballos here. Okay. Of course, you can, if I wanted to play a different style, I could just put Mesut Ozil here as an inverted winger, Ceballos here, right? Because remember that Mesut Ozil has got try-skiller balls, comes deep to get the ball. So now, as a player trait, what will happen is the inverted winger will come here, comes deep, and he plays killer balls all the way here. So we got invert. So you have options, right? You got Ceballos playing here. So when you create your tactics, it's really, really simple. What you want to do, if you don't understand the beginning is just a support duty. So you start with positioning, you start with off the ball. You look for your spine. That's your spine. So you form your spine. Now you think about the options that you have. So what we did was we looked at our 4 and we looked at our 2, and then we went, okay, we have 2 solid players. We'll use a 4-2-3-1. Makes sense. In this system, I don't have to play with Granit Xhaka because Xhaka's positioning is very weak. Here, I've got the only problem is a team like Arsenal is that I have to go out now and go and get myself another midfielder. This is the thing that we have to do here. And then once the support duties are set up, I look at things like how do I work my goal scoring opportunities now. With a 4, I decided I wanted to play a 4 because that's how you might make a good tactic, right? So you start with what you have at your disposal. So we got guys who are bombing, whom we're not going to use attacking duties because this is a top-heavy system. We want to play it safe. Of course, if you are playing against a weaker side, maybe, yes, there's nothing to stop you from turning this guy into an attacking duty or a wing back on attack if the opposite team doesn't want to come out. Problem then is balls over the top. What's the weakness of the system? This is something that you have to recognize when you're playing against another team. We're playing a higher defensive line, high line of engagement because we're camping in the opponent's half. Single biggest threat is the ball over the top, which is why we're using fullbacks instead of wingbacks. If I use wingbacks, I guarantee you I'll concede. So we're not using wingbacks, we're using fullbacks. So understanding what might happen with your tactic is the last step. Can this tactic beat other teams? Actually, I've used this already. I played with Arsenal. We finished third on the table. Wins over Man City, wins over Liverpool. Liverpool was a disgusting win. We beat Liverpool 3-1. And then I beat City 4-2. It was very... And last night I did a test before I went for the game between Man City and Liverpool. Man City beat Liverpool 4-0. I was like so sad. I thought it was a precursor for things to come. And thankfully it didn't happen. Okay guys, do you guys have any questions about the basics? Because I will definitely do more of these, how to make a good tactic. Then I'll go into how to make a good 4-2-2 DM system, how to make a good 4-1-2-3, how to make a good 5-3-2, how to make a good... All these are going to be for you guys on Patreon. So I'm starting out with a 4-2-3-1. Then I might do another one where I come into a game, because that would be for another episode. I'm going to wait. I don't want to go into too much detail now, but I want to wait until the patch comes in. When the patch comes in, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a specific tactic with a specific team, and then just for you guys, I will play and then show you how I could adapt the tactic as we go. So how do you make that 4-2-3-1 last for, how do you adapt the 4-2-3-1 to different circumstances? So do you guys have any questions at this point? Because I will definitely be continuing my streaming on Twitch very soon, where I will be looking at a football team. I don't even know which team I'm going to be looking at. Yes, we got Chico, we got Mark. Well, if you guys don't have any questions, I thoroughly, I appreciate the fact that you guys have come in for today's show. And I want to thank you guys for popping in on today's show. So let's see if there are more questions before we switch to the stream on Twitch. Well, if there are no questions, I want to thank everybody for joining me on today's stream. This is a short stream. Oh, we have questions. Yes, that's brilliant. Okay. How do the fullbacks with get further forward affect this system? They will play like fullbacks on attack. When a fullback has a get further forward instruction, his positioning is like you've given him an overlap. So what it does is it positions him further forward during the transition. So you have to pay attention to them. Sometimes I don't like it, especially if I want to make a more defensive system, because when you have possession of the ball, the player who has got the get further forward player trait, he's going to be a bit higher than the fullback who doesn't. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be using him. It just means that when you have that player, make sure that he's got very good work rate and very good acceleration, and he's got decent anticipation. Like in this particular case, Bellerin, I think, has that player trait. Let me see now. Where's Bellerin? Yep, he gets forward. No, this one is gets forward whenever possible. There's a slight difference to the other one. Bellerin is going to bomb forward. That means he's going to behave like a fullback on attack. Even though we have an overlap, he's going to be, when we have the ball is coming to his side, he is going to position himself even further, and he's going to be playing like a wing back almost, because he's going to be that far up the pitch. Is it a bad thing? In this particular case, not necessarily, but it does mean that this guy might be a goal-scoring threat. He might be a potential problem for other defenses because he is a very attacking fullback. So he's not like a fullback on support. He comes in fullback on attack immediately, right? So if you use him in a system, it just means that he's a fullback on attack even when you put him as a fullback on support. That's it. Can you reduce mentality to balance to compensate? For the whole team, no, not really, because the behavior of the player get further forward is still going to be the same. When you reduce your mentality to balance, what you're actually doing is you're affecting the entire team, right? So when you do that, other players become a bit less. It might affect other players on the pitch. You can't start on balanced mentality to see how your team is playing. But if I wanted to create a very attacking tactic, then what I would do, and this is what I've been doing in all my tactics, when I see a player that gets further forward and I want to use the overlap, then I'm thinking to myself, I don't really need the overlap in this particular case because he's going to bomb forward. So let me try it without the overlap to see how he plays. So this is how I adapt my tactic to the player. But I won't want to change the entire mentality because of one player, because then it affects 10 other players. So that's not what I would do. Compensating for one player could affect the rest. Will he behave like this if we set up the fullback? He'll be positioned higher as a fullback on defense. He might not bomb forward. He will still be high up the pitch. Did you all see my fullback? Did you read the book? In the book, I have fullback on defense. I show that even fullbacks on defense, they can overlap, right? They are more defensively minded. They will be further up the pitch, but they may not necessarily overlap all the time. They will only overlap, then there is very good opportunity. If I use a fullback on defense, you could make him a fullback on defense, one option, because then you see, this is a good question, because what Chico is doing is he's affecting the mentality only of one player. So right now we got this, you look at this, right? He's on attacking duty. What Chico is doing this. Fullback on defense turns his mentality to balanced, right? So he becomes a balanced player, but we still have the overlap. Now, he becomes a lot less aggressive in this tactic because now he will be positioned slightly higher up because we are using the overlap right influence. Okay, let me remove the overlap right. Now we come back to this player, edit, he becomes cautious. So what I'm doing here is if you go balance, if you go support, now he's positive, attacking, right? Then I go in here, I hit the overlap. He becomes attacking, he becomes balanced. So that is another way of doing it. So you change the duty. By changing the duty, you're affecting the mentality only of that player and not the rest of the team. So that's one way of doing it. I mean, I did it, I showed it in the book. I explained it in the book, and it was like, I have played this role, some of these roles on defend duty before. There's nothing wrong. I mean, you could create a 4-2-4, right? I mean, there's not much difference between this and a 4-2-4. And you do fullback on defense. Now what I have is, instead of having cautious mentalities, I have balanced mentalities for both of them. Their position. So we got all these four bombing up the pitch. Of course, I probably wouldn't use an inside forward on attack. I probably have an inverted wing on support here, right? Because this is too far of a gap. But what is going to happen is takes Furious will cross some drip and he'll hold his position. This is the only thing about the fullback on defense. He will cross from somewhere around here, this area of the pitch. He won't go down the byline. I hope that helped clear up any questions you guys had. Okie dokie. So will I be seeing you guys very soon on the Twitch stream? I hope so. And if you have any more questions, please drop them on Discord. I always love to have a good chat with you guys. Okay, guys, I'll catch up with you guys very, very soon. You guys take care. Have a good one. Adios.